So today I want to also recap what we said in the session and explore the session view slightly deeper. And after that, we will see, depends on how we will explore it. Yeah, this is exactly what we, yeah. So also I want to show you samples, how to use samples and transform samples and all of that. And along the way, groove, you mentioned groove the other day, so I also want to show you how to do groove. And maybe I will also open at some point some previous project. Not, mhm. Yeah, so this is the preferences. It's also another thing that I wanted to mention because you also mentioned it, and also it's very important in the beginning to understand all the preferences. Um, you prefer to start with the preferences, or you prefer to start with the preferences? Yeah, yeah. All right, sure. So you can get the preferences with the shortcut Command and comma. Oh, right, showing. Yeah, no, it's better. Command and comma. Yeah. So the display. Let's start with the display. So the language, the zoom. So I can change it and then you will see what happens. And if you I delete it, just basically will return it automatically to the default setting, and it's also across all the stuff that we will do. If you like delete the key, delete the key here. So it's always go to the default setting. So important to notice. Um, so here it's more about the display and how it look like, and you can change slightly some stuff, but I will keep it the same. And maybe if at some point you want to explore a bit more and change some stuff here, you can. But I will keep everything more as the default because if you change something it is not as the default, and then something will not be exactly. For the beginning, I think default is good enough, you know. And theme and colors. So this is the default theme, and a lot of people like the dark one. You will see a lot of people use the dark one on YouTube and stuff, and also it's good for the night if you will. Which one? Thanks, Rob. Yeah, yeah. Immaterial, whatever. Let's go with the dark for now, the medium dark. And also in the preferences, you have a lot of control on how it will open up. Like software will open up in a specific way, in specific presets, in terms of templates, in terms of like the setting of some stuff. Like for example, the color of the clip, and more in details about here we have the track, and yeah, more the track and all this kind of thing. And the audio. Let's continue to the audio. The audio is probably the most important aspect of the preferences. Um, the driver type in Mac is usually the core audio, and you cannot change it. Like you can change it if you have different driver types, but I don't think it's necessary to add driver types and change it. I don't see any reason to do it. Maybe with a specific audio interface that has different driver types, maybe you will need to change it. And I think the driver types is something that you will need to explore more if you have not Mac like PC. And the input in general, like in audio in general, like in more broad perspective, there is this concept of single flow, and it comes from audio engineering. And it's something that I think if we have it in our back of our mind, always when we explore something, for example, the single flow of the MIDI keyboard, the single flow of the audio interface, and also the guitar and the amp. And the basic of it is always input and output. So what is the input that we create? How is the output go in? What is actually going on along the way? And I think it's nice to also imagine it in a way, and also bear in mind that it is crucial to how we will hear and how we will perform. So, for example, here in the audio input, I put the audio interface as solid, and more like advanced example here, I can create multi-output device. This is something that's inside also the Mac, and basically what it means that I'm creating more output to the output of the software, because this is the input and the output of Ableton, but also you have the input and output of the Mac. And if you have different software, so different input and output. And what is important to notice, so if you use audio interface, so the input will be essentially that if I will play now something and I will connect it to the audio interface, one of the jack or whatever, one of the input. So also in the audio interface, you have input and output. And so, for example, I will connect here the guitar with the jack. Maybe I will do it later. And then the input that I will create, it will go through the audio interface to the device here, and it stops at some point in the buffer size. And the buffer size, it's an important concept that can trick some people in the beginning. And this is basically crucial because of the latency. And back to your thing about the Bluetooth. So if I'm connecting the Bluetooth thing, it creates more latency because of the connection, the single flow. It's not connected enough. And
What do you mean it's not
the Bluetooth, the way that how Bluetooth works, it spreads the signals in a specific way that is not as direct as the cable. Similarly to how like routers works and stuff like that, slightly different. And in audio setting, it's more crucial because audio you want to make your sample right on time. And I want to explain this thing, the buffer size, and then you will, I think, understand much better like what I mean by latency and what I mean by not connected in a way. It's slightly mystifying this way, but let's try to demystify it. So I jump to the latency here because it's the most important aspect of how your computer will work, how the hardware will work with the software. So it's very crucial to understand that like if you increase the samples, the buffer size, basically the computer will digest more samples per buffer. So it's increased the buffer size, and buffer it's basically mean chunk. It chunks the samples in a specific way. That if I'm working now and I'm increasing the buffer size, the samples, so we will see that the input latency it's longer. The time here, and why it's actually happening. Like for example, if I will decrease, also try it by yourself, and you will see that if you decrease the samples, so it also will decrease the input latency. So back to single flow. So what is happening here, that the input that I created with the guitar, it's connected to the audio interface. It goes through the cable, it goes through the audio interface, and then it's connected to the software. And before it goes to the tracks actually, and before it goes to the clips and all of that, it stops in the buffer size. And the buffer size, I like to think about it like a waiter in a way. So the waiter, if he will get the first plate, and he's, I don't know how you name it, but this thing, the big plate. When you put more plates, tray, yeah, tray. Sorry. So the tray. So if you will do the first tray will already will start to serve the customer. So we'll need to back and forth all the time, and it will probably what will happen. He will use more energy per plate, and it's the same thing about the sample. So the sample, if I'm decreasing the sample, my computer will work harder, and this is because it will chunk the samples in smaller amount, and it will go back and forth to process it. And if I'm increasing the samples, so it will wait, like the waiter, so it will wait to more plates to come in until they.
The 64, all 64 samples.
Mhm.
Wait for 1,000.
So, yeah, exactly.
That's the dumb question now. Like, what does that mean before?
Before processing to the tracks, we talk about audio and MIDI tracks. So this is the lane, and then it's go to the output. So this we just talk about the input now. This is why I wanted to stop for a second, talk about the input.
So the more like for latency,
Mhm.
the goal is to have zero. Right?
Yeah,
You hit record,
and it's impossible.
automatic, everything moves at the speed of the button.
Mhm.
So why, like, if I'm at 64 samples, my input latency is zero, my output is 11. But if I go up to like 512, why would I want to increase my output? Because like all you want to do is be at
Yeah,
zero.
when you're recording. But another aspect, the computer is limited in terms of resources and CPU. So if I would use always also it depends on the computer. So if you have a very strong computer, actually you can work maybe with always a small amount of samples.
So that's better.
So yeah, I want to extend it. Like when I record myself, I mean I'm creating audio. MIDI is slightly different, yeah. And I'm gonna use the audio interface, and I'm gonna use an input. So this is why we have in the setting here, audio device, audio input device. So this is audio. So when I'm recording, I want as much as I can, as much as my computer will allow me to decrease the sample. But if I will start to do it and I will add more tracks, so the computer will work harder and start to create this kind of metallic sound at some point. Maybe you started to notice it if you started to explore the software. And then it's because of mismatching of samples.
So if you get the buffer, if you get that metallic, you can increase the buffer size.
Decrease. So this is why, because when you decrease the samples, when you decrease the chunks, so you will do the run back and forth like the waiter. So it's more more time consuming. It's more work. Sorry, not time. Decrease the time. I mean, it's more work for the computer. And essentially, what it means that when you're mixing and when you in more advanced project, you will have more tracks. And when you decrease the sample, you will notice that your computer now it's work harder. And also you have the meter CPU there in the corner from right when you see the 0%. It's up there. A bit tricky because the projector here, I tried to fix it, but I didn't manage. Yeah, so this is a CPU meter, and basically show you how much effort the computer does.
But the default is cool.
The default, it's also it's a matter of like what you do. So I would say when you work now just without recording, go with the 512, 256. But also, if you have a very strong computer, maybe you can go down and decrease. But also, it's just important when you record yourself. But if you increase more tracks and you have more like overload of some sort, so the computer will start to have this kind of glitch. So you want to increase the samples, so it will wait more and it will process them all at once. So it's make these kind of things.
Let's run back and forth.
Exactly.
So can I just make
Yeah.
sure that so the like when you're recording, you could have like less latency because that's what you want for that. But then when you're combining it and tracking stuff, you can back.
Yeah,
Like
so
everything else can be whatever, but actual recorded, like either voice.
because when you do mixing, so you have a lot of tracks and clips and all of that. So if you will have a small buffer size, the computer will work too much. And so a rule of thumb, like when you do more like the editing part, so you just increase the samples rate. Sorry, not the rate, the samples buffer size. And they have another thing, the sample rate.
Do you have a number you work at specifically? Baseline?
Yeah. But also, again, if I'm starting with recording, so no. So
Okay.
What would you put it for recording?
54, 32, it depends also, again, with my computer. Yeah, so if you record a vocal with your mic, connect to the audio interface, so you need to decrease it. Any question? Yeah.
Not following.
So,
So it-
yeah, sure. Ask.
So you plug in a guitar.
Mhm.
You put in your input deck,
Yeah, to
this,
get the audio interface.
and then you said the computer is going to tell you something about your buffer. Or you have to go.
No, you need to have. This is like the default sometimes will be, I think, yeah, usually 512. This will be the default, and it can be also still good. Yeah, it depends again what you need and how much you need to be precise. Because you see here, it's 10 milliseconds. Like it's something very, very small, but sometimes when you perform and you want to be accurate, it's not going to be good enough, so you want to decrease it some. And this is just the input. Now let's talk about the output.
More of the actual sound. It's accepting more.
It's except
Bring in more of the range.
Mhm.
If you want to hear it.
Yeah, you think it's a matter of things.
Yeah.
Like you listen to something and recording that, and it's going to be a little off.
Not about the actual quality.
The sound itself, no. But it's actually can affect you because if you have too much tracks and then you record in 512, so it can make it, basically create this kind of metallic sound.
In your ears, but not in the.
No, inside.
Oh, so you'll always.
Because the process of how it's recorded, it was too much of the computer, so it's actually distorted the audio. It can, but again, it depends on how you, how you do it. Yeah, it's always a good thing to notice. Always a rule of thumb to explore by yourself, decrease, increase, see how it goes, because it's also changed based on the computer and your CPU and all of that, and also about the project itself. How many MIDI tracks? How much?
You have 50 tracks playing back.
So this is
And all of them on top of the 50 that are playing.
yeah, exactly.
Right.
That's how. And the output. Yeah. Also, you can check here. You can test the tone. And then, if you, for example, you have a CPU usage simulator, so if you increase more the CPU, it's like basically simulate how much CPU you will use. So I will to give you the example. This is just a tone, a normal tone, just to process the tone inside of the audio. And then basically now, what we will see, this is the tone frequency you see here. It's just a frequency, yeah? But it's just to test how much samples you have and if it's good or not, and if your computer is basically, let's see what is going to happen if I'm in 64 now.
If it was going to guitar, would it show you?
It's more to check the CPU and how the test the sound, yeah, the frequency.
Yeah, but I'm saying like, if
Sorry,
you don't want to mess up your record,
Mhm.
if you want to test,
Yeah,
play, and then test it there with that.
you test now the computer performances, like how it will digest the samples, the frequency, in terms of the CPU simulator. Like, so if you increase the simulator, CPU, so at some point you will see that it will start to distort because of the computer. It will work too hard.
You'll hear it in the tone.
In the tone, I think, yeah, you will hear it. Yeah. So now it's good because the computer is in 80% and it's worked well. So it's actually to check that your computer now will process it. Because if now you have, for example, another 10 Google tabs in the meantime, another Adobe software that work on the same time. So the CPU, it's limited in terms of how it will process it. So it's just to check that everything will be fine. Yeah, okay. The output, it depends again, because if you want to hear it from the speakers, so you can just to hear it from the speakers of the, I mean the speaker of the Mac. If you want to hear it from the audio interface, so you can hear it from the audio interface. But if you don't have any speakers that connect to the interface, so you don't have any output, because the audio interface is not output by itself.
But you can, but you speak it, right?
Ah, yeah, yeah. So you have an output here, and basically what you will do if you have an audio interface and monitors, you will have one to each side, so left and right, with two monitors. This is the ideal situation if you have monitors. Sorry?
Quarter.
It's this is the like the squatting. Sorry, what is it?
Quarter.
Quarter inch. I'm not sure. It's a plug. Ah, okay. Yeah, I think it's. Where is it? Sorry. Well, I think it's something that is inside, it's built in Mac, and you can check it what it does. Probably it will be automatically with the Mac, but it's not the speaker, so I don't think you will hear something. Also, if you connect for the aux now, if you connect the headphones, like the AirPod, for example, so we will also need to put the output there as the AirPod. Yeah. Mhm.
I have this like it's very similar to same sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
But when I tried plugging the guitar or vocal on this, maybe it does need a driver installed.
Could be, but
Okay.
also it can be that you need to press something in the audio interface. So
Oh.
each audio interface there is different setup, and I can take a look and see it later, but I don't want to spend too much time on it because
But yeah.
we can talk about it hours. Basically, you have setting on the input.
Yeah.
For example, it's not my audio interface, but in my audio interface, you have like specific button that you need to press.
Okay.
That it's really like the two things that will create the instrument, and then you can connect to instrument. And if it's, for example, also it's an important point because also if I will connect to this the condenser mic needs a bit more electricity, and so it's above 48 voltage. And then what it does basically that you need to press this thing to make the condenser work and sync to the audio interface. Otherwise, it's not going to work. It's fun to manage this kind of thing. And
I think it might be.
so there are a lot of different and tiny details that we can delve into. It's going to be just 2 hours about this, but in the end, it's good to explore it also by yourself because we have limited time in the workshop. And that's for now. I think it's enough. I just want to return back to the 512 because I know that now I'm also running OBS, and OBS is a lot of CPU consuming, so I don't want to increase too much the CPU. I know it's just another software to record the screen and our audio now. And yeah, I want to go through more stuff in the preferences, but I will do it a bit quicker now because and see that our time is a bit. Yeah. So the MIDI and the link and the tempo. So you have different things here that you can control. When you have a MIDI keyboard, you want to make sure that the control surface it will be automatically go like you need to search it, and this is when start to be also based on which MIDI you have and if it's sync with Ableton or not. Sometimes it will sync automatically, sometimes it's not.
If they're not, you just need to install.
And again, what we have here, input and output. So this is what I have in home, and the MPK is this one. It's automatically synced now with the input and the output of the software. And you have more details here, like track, sync, remote, MP, but I don't want to get into it now. But basically what we want to make sure is that the MIDI, it will be as an input and output. The file is another thing that how we save it, what kind of things, where it will save it. Also, you have the temporary folder. The temporary folder will activate automatically when you have an audio. So it's a matter of like how you want to locate everything. If you want to put it in a specific file.
Is it like
Mhm.
in Adobe, like video?
Mhm.
Like if you have clips, or let's say we use a sample, is there a folder attached to that file?
So it's actually here in the setting. Yeah, you can decide, for example, with WAV, if you want with WAV, WAV, wave. I say WAV. Yeah, and some people say WAV. There is like an option that you want to have waveform analysis, and basically it's to allow, for example, to software when you send it on WhatsApp or something, that they will see the amplitude of the waveform, and if you're not gonna tick it, so it's not gonna make it, so it's they're not gonna see the waveform of the track. And this is more about exporting. Now it's more about the file where it will save, and
But for import, when you set up a project,
Mhm.
make a fresh project, let's say we work on drag like
Import.
YouTube, whatever I collect from,
Yeah.
put it in a folder. Did that folder live like that folder
Yeah.
element?
Yeah. Well, it's actually not exactly here. It's in the library and the location of user library. This is the next section, basically, the library. And here it's basically, you will see it here. Also, you will see it in the places. And it's also important not to play too much with the location of all of it, because if you will change something, for example, delete the user library, there is some stuff that can be tricky at some point. If like it's like the computer, if you start to delete stuff and change too much, it's not gonna sync, and so you need to go back and check what is the default. So don't play with it too much. But for example, with the user library, you can open a folder, and then you can put, you see here, templates, samples. So it's your own templates, your own samples. So you will locate it there, and it's also you can see it from the Finder. If you go through the Mac, the same way you can search for it, like it's under the Ableton. Usually it's library, Ableton, music under Ableton, and then you will find like also where you find the projects and stuff.
So once you drop it in, you don't mess with that folder. Once I
Yeah,
drop
it's
it in,
like,
it stays. So I could delete it from my original folder. Then,
you can also put it on the desktop and you can find it.
no, I hear that, but if I have, say I
So,
just I make a folder called people right?
yeah, yeah, sure.
I drop in a piece of audio. Once I drag and drop that, it's now duplicated in my user folder for Ableton.
If you will put it, there in this direction. Otherwise, it can be.
Or it's going to be looking for it.
Yeah, well, it depends, and because I'm not sure if I understood it correctly. If you just download like a sample from YouTube or something, and now you just put it on the software. So
No, we put it on a folder and then we have from that folder and Ableton and then save it into the Ableton library
Storage
folder as a duplicate. You can then erase that.
mm,
video editing or things like that. You go
Yeah, you
folders
don't
and
want to
sources.
clutter up everything.
yeah. Well, I need to check it because I'm not sure exactly.
Also, the guy was like saving everything on the Dropbox. So I was wondering
Okay.
how many ideas about that.
Well, I don't use Dropbox for that, but it depends also if you want to make sure that you have cloud with all your files and all of it. Some people use USB. In the past, I used to use USB,
Yeah,
like this kind of USB that you can put and they store your stuff physically. So I used to do that. It's a matter again of you can.
I think you have latency probably.
Yeah, it's true.
Dropbox, maybe a
Yeah.
sample.
hmm
You gotta run that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
I would keep the
also.
application and then everything else would be on Dropbox. Would that create a problem? Dropbox?
Well, it's a matter also again of style, and I think if you want to make sure, yeah, do Dropbox, do USB, like copy, backup, and stuff like that. So it's nice, it's important. Yeah, but automatically also Ableton does backup of some sort. It's actually how it saves. Like I want to show you.
Yeah, I'll just test out something.
Yeah.
Asset and see if it still works.
Mm, Cause I think so, but maybe if you will change, like I'm not sure about the changes you will make and how you exactly will save it. So it depends on a few things that you will do it. Yeah, and I think plugins is just I want to do it very briefly. Basically, you have again a folder of plugins inside of the library of Ableton, and inside of these kind of files, it's inside of each other, and then you can automatically it will create if it's a new VST. VST is virtual instrument. This is the plugin that usually works and sync, but sometimes it's not, and then you need to divide it and you download the VST, for example, and it has like two folders, and then you need to go to the folders inside of the setting of the library, and then you will just put it. Virtual instrument. It's basically a plugin. It's basically a synthesizer. Usually, it's a synthesizer.
Okay.
So let's keep it this way now because I also record. Record. Yeah. Well, sorry if you like.
No,
Yeah,
you're good. It's
I'm
technology.
afraid
No, you're
to
right.
delve
Yeah.
into it too
Okay.
much because our time also will be
Yeah.
tricky with it. We can also discuss just about preferences, but and also yeah, it's not gonna fit more time to other stuff. And the last thing is record, wrap, launch, and the license that I want to show. That basically you just check if you have the license and if there is an update, and you can also sync it as and get an automatic update. But the wrap and the record here, it's basically important when we talk about beat depth, and I don't want to get into it too much. Maybe at some point we will, but it's the file type, it's the beat depth. The beat depth it's basically setting that related to how the file is synced with the software. So if you have different beat depth with sample that you download, so it will be a bit tricky at some point. Maybe you need to adjust it. That's something that you need to just be aware of. That beat depth is something that we want to be aware that it's synced in the same beat depth of the software. But that's enough for now because I can talk about beat depth and define it and then, but it will take a lot of time now, I think, and I think it's better to continue. Um, warping is basically this time stretching of like this records that you made. It's automatic like an engine that's Ableton design, and it can allow you to adjust the BPM and the pitch um, to what you record. Well, it's a lot of details. It's okay.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
But you want should we have it on or off?
The auto work long samples. Let's keep it on for now. It's basically it's when you run a long sample, very long song or something. So there is a specific algorithm that will stretch it a bit better.
But for you more short
Auto,
leave
auto,
it on.
yeah, for now auto. And the default work mode is basically the different ways of understanding the sample. So this engine, this algorithm, it will go to the records after you record something, and then you have the work mode, so you will activate it, and then you have different ways to understand it. So if it's based on beats, so it understand it based on the BPM and all of that. So it will wrap it in different way. The transient will go in different way, and also transient is something that can be technical as a term, but just basically mean the let's say the variable inside, like one variable inside of the sample, let's say. And so let's just for beats, basically drums. If you process a drum, it's for beats. If you process a piano or something, tone and complex is probably will be the most CPU consuming, but will be good in terms of like adjusting it a bit and make it more warm or something. And also you can change it all the time, and you will see it when we record something. We will can always transform the route, but this is just the default. This is how it will open. So if you work more with drums, so you can keep it on beat, and usually I just keep it on beat. And if you want to just change the default mode, so you change it, and then automatically when you wrap something. So yeah, it's not very important for now. I just wanted to mention it because at some point we will get to it. Yeah, this more or less for now. We're almost 1 hour within this so, but it's okay. So live session. So I just launch here. Well, I want to show it from the beginning. I don't want to. So this is how it will be. I will just this is the default way of opening Ableton, and I want to show you how I will go to samples now. And let's also use the browser at some point. So I want to see different things here, the character, the genre. I will open all the So someone give me indication. I don't know. What do you feel to do? Drums? I'm in samples now. I want to show you a sample now. So some drums, drum kit, and I can start to explore. Let's say I want percussion. And look now, when I see the name, so it's usually say the BPM. If it's just a snare, so it's not gonna say because this snare, it's a sample of the snare. But when you see BPM, it's not just a snare. It's more than that. And I have two things to do here. Like if I want to, I'm just drag it now to drop files devices here. Now it's sync with my BPM because it's on 120, so 128. Let's go to 90 because it's in 90. And this is the work what we said before about working. So let's see if I will process to complex. Feel something different? Let's not the best amp, but maybe we'll start to hear some differences. If I'm changing the warping, it slightly will change the texture. But it's
Well, I
very,
thought warping was about tempo.
it is, yeah, it is. But also in the way that how you process the samples, so it's effect, and then the format, the vibe, the envelope, this kind of things. We will talk about it later about the envelope, but the format, I mean, it will sound slightly different because it's processed. This is an engine. This is an algorithm, so it understands the sample in different ways when you use different words. So this is beats because we use drums, and sometimes we can also change to other stuff and see how it goes. So we don't want to be strict with how it's named and how we need to work in specific ways. But this is just like, yeah,
Kind of you play around with this then.
all the time play around with it, experiment with it, because we don't need to be strict. And sometimes the coolest stuff. So I load this kind of sample, and what is it? Like it's MIDI or it's audio?
Sounds like audio. Oh,
Audio.
Audio. Why?
you can see it.
Exactly.
Really? Wait, what's that? What just happened? MIDI doesn't have waves?
No, MIDI is the little squares.
That. Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Like with recap from
Oh,
the session. So yeah, MIDI and audio, they look slightly different. They work slightly different. Yeah. So I want this to go to MIDI now. So I do right click, go down. I can slice to new MIDI track, and I also can convert it to different things. Let's convert it to drums, because this is again, the preferences will slightly change the way that it's understood. So if now I convert it to drums, the MIDI engine algorithm basically will understand it slightly different because it's drums now.
yeah, where did you go to get the
Yeah, right click on the clip itself. So this is the container. We want to change the container.
when I double click on
Mhm.
different track. Track.
But you drop it on MIDI already, no? Like this is this is a different.
If I had done it on audio.
I drop it on drop files and device here, and because here it's like you see here, it's already in. Also, you can see it there down. I mean this one. You can see it is a waveform, so more likely to it's an audio, you know. So now if I will drop it here, it will automatically will be audio because it's an audio in the native way of it. And I do right click, and I can convert it to different things. So I can convert it to harmony, convert melody, convert to drums. So let's convert it to drums. This is what I did here. And now the audio, let's see what lives now know about it. So it's also ran like different. This what is understood. This what is understood from this. Like this how actually how Ableton read it as a MIDI, and this is based on their computers, and this is kind of the mathematics behind like all this kind of thing.
Change the audio.
Yeah. So now why change the audio? Because it now run it on different drums basically.
So you just keep the pattern.
Yeah. Why it's great? Because we can now have also probably it didn't get it right completely, but I think they just get better and better. Their way of analyzing all these kind of things, it's just a dream in comparison to the past. Yeah.
Does it mean that I couldn't record like?
Yeah, and it will
read as a trumpet.
And then it will read it. It depends. You can convert it to harmony, so it depends on
That's what I'm wondering.
the mode. So this is not. Yeah,
what
let's
that
see.
means?
Yeah, let's see. Can be that it's not gonna make so much difference because maybe the algorithm will recognize it. Let's see. Let's see.
As
I
a
don't need to talk. Actually, look what happened here. When I converted to a drum, so it's open a drum MIDI. When I converted to harmony, it's actually ran our own synthesizer.
What?
This one,
Okay.
this is the second. This is the drum rack.
Okay.
We will talk about rack another
Okay.
way, another time.
Yeah.
But basically, this is a lot of samples of drums. You see the snare, tom high, and all of that. And here, it's actually a synthesizer, analog synthesizer. I don't know why it's look so bad.
So what kind of
It's
sound?
weird. Yeah, I don't know. But here it's good.
Yeah, no, I noticed that.
Okay. I'm so sorry. I was going for long.
Because everything else is
I
like-
am.
just
I am. So it's just starting.
Yeah, you just compared to the rest of the world.
It's alright. That must have been your default setting for your version thing.
It's not here. It's just because of the projector. No.
Oh yeah. No, I'm saying.
Sorry.
That it turned into a synthesizer.
This is because now I transform through a MIDI harmony and not the drum.
Yeah, but to your harmony must have been set to synthesizer. Or is it all?
Now let's see what it does actually.
Oh, I see.
It's based on what you want to create from it. Let's see.
Harmony means melodic. Oh, now okay.
Harmony,
Now
not
we're
necessarily.
talking.
Harmony and melodic, it's slightly different. Like also in terms of. You ask me now in terms of like music theory or in terms of like the
No,
Ableton?
what is
Yeah, because if it's more harmonic, probably it will create more layer of like peaks, and it will try to get it together. But if it's melody, let's try the melody. Yeah, and now it's let's see the difference. Hear it. Yeah.
Everyone, everyone. Everyone loves a map, makes us feel in control. But what about the places in between? The spaces maps don't show. Everyone loves a celebration, anniversary of birth. But what about the in-betweens? Don't these also have worth? And time, everyone loves a map, makes us feel in control. But what about the places in between? The spaces maps don't show. Everyone loves a celebration, anniversary of birth. But what about the in-betweens? Don't these also have worth? When the time comes for me to go, I hope I will know the beauty of the in-between, what it all means. Better legs. Yeah? Oh. Everyone. Everyone loves a map, makes us feel in control. But what about the places in between? The spaces maps don't show. Everyone loves a